Okay, today we are going to create a line tree forest painting where we're going to create all different types of trees with all different types of lines. Now, in order to do this project, what you will need is count them, two pieces of white paper. One is going to be for the trees and one is going to be for the background. You're also going to need a glue stick, scissors, a black crayon or black oil pastel, and you're also going to need watercolors and either a cup or jar or bowl of water and a paintbrush. Okay, in order to get started, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to create our different sort of trees, but we first have to cut out the different sections for the different trees. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is you're going to get out that first piece of paper and you can lay it down landscape orientation meaning that it is wide and fat. Okay, then what you're going to do is you are going to get out your pinchers, and one pincher is going to hold one side of your paper. The other pincher is going to pinch the other side of your paper. Then what you're going to do is one pincher pinches that side over and brings it over to the other side. They give it a little kiss. One holds both while the other one creases the piece of paper so that it is folded in half. Okay, now that it's folded in half, let's open it up, and now we see a crease down the middle. What you're going to do is you're going to cut along that crease. So you're going to get out your scissors, make sure your thumb is in the small hole and your other fingers are in the larger hole at the bottom. You're going to open up that alligator mouth, and you're going to line up that alligator mouth with the crease. And you are going to chomp. And we are cutting along that crease, which is a vertical line. We can tell it's a vertical line because it's going straight up and down. So go ahead, cut along that crease so that now you have two pieces of paper. Now what we're going to do is you're going to take one of those pieces of paper and you're going to lay it right on top of the other piece of paper. Line them up and hold them together. The next thing you're going to do is again turn it landscape orientation so that it is wide and fat. You are going to get out those pinchers again, and we're going to do the same thing, but this time holding both pieces of paper. You're going to have one pincher hold one side of both pieces of paper, and your other pincher holds the other sides of the both pieces of paper. And we're going to fold it in half again, bringing that one pincher over to the other and giving a little kiss. One takes all of the sides, the other one creases. Okay, now that we have it folded, let's unfold it, keeping those pieces of paper still together, hold them together. And what you are going to do is we're going to again cut along that vertical crease. But make sure that you're holding all sheets of paper together as you're cutting, because we're going to cut them at the same time. So open up your alligator mouth, line it up with that vertical crease, and chomp, holding onto both pieces of paper, and chomp, chomp, chomp. And now we should have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of paper. Let's take those 4 pieces of paper and line them up all together again, and we're going to hold all those pieces of paper together. We're going to again turn it to be landscape orientation so that it's wide and fat. We're going to get out those pinchers again, and this time our pinchers have to hold all the pieces of paper on one side and all the pieces of paper on the other side. Then you're going to do your best to take one pincher with all those pieces of paper on one side, bring it over to your other pincher. The other pincher takes all the sides, the other one creases. Okay, Then what we're going to do is we're going to open all those pieces of paper back open again, and we're going to do the same step that we've done before. We're going to use our scissors to cut along that vertical crease, holding all the sheets of paper together. You're going to cut, cut, cut until all of those sheets of paper have been cut in half again. Wow, look how many sheets of paper we have now. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You should have 8 small pieces of paper. Okay, now for each one of these small pieces of paper, we are going to cut along the edges to make them round, because our trees are going to be nice and round. And I'm going to show you how to do that. What you are going to do is you are going to take your scissors again, and for your pieces of paper, you're going to line up your alligator mouth of your scissors diagonally, slanted like a slippery slide, on one of those corners. And you're just going to open it, okay, having it rest on the piece of paper. Then what you're going to do is when you start squeezing your scissors, you're going to use your other hand to turn the piece of paper as you're squeezing. And I'm going to chomp off one of those corners. Look how, because I turned my piece of paper while I was chomping, it created a rounded cut. So we're going to do that to each one of those corners. Ready? So I'm going to line up my alligator mouth diagonally on that corner, and I'm going to start cutting and turn, chomp. Diagonally again, cutting and turning my paper, chomp. Diagonally cutting and turning your paper, chomp. There we go. If you are cutting your pieces of paper just across diagonally and it's not becoming round, it's okay. What you can do is just kind of chomp the little edges off so that it does become round. But let's try to do this method where we're going to chomp and turn and chomp and turn. And you are going to do this for each small piece of paper. You're going to round out those edges. So again, chomp and turn. Chomp and turn. Wow, this is going to look so good. Okay, let's do it for each one. Chomp and turn. Beautiful. Each one of these pieces of paper should be turning into what geometric shape? You're right, an oval. And remember, an oval is kind of like a circle, but it's a circle that's been squished. So each one of these pieces of paper, once you're done with them, should look like a oval. Okay, I have one more to do. Awesome. Okay, now I have all of my ovals cut out. I'm ready to start creating the different lines within my ovals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my first black crayon, and I'm going to do my first tree. So all the other ones I can pile up and put them off to the side so I can concentrate just on one tree at a time. Now for my first tree, what I might want to do is have it just be a tree that looks like it doesn't have any leaves on it. So it looks like I'm just going to draw the branches and the trunk. So in order to do this tree, what we're going to do is first create a vertical line for the main tree trunk or branch. And then off of that vertical line, I'm going to create diagonal lines that are the branches. So a diagonal line up, diagonal line up, diagonal line up. And I can make them get shorter and shorter as I go up. So in between that, I'm going to do diagonal line up, and diagonal line up. I might even fit another one right here. Now off of those diagonal lines, I'm going to create even smaller diagonal lines for the branches. So diagonal line, diagonal line, diagonal line, diagonal line, diagonal line. And you can keep adding some, like 1 or 2 diagonal lines on each one of those branches. Awesome. All right, so I have one tree done, and I'll put it off to the side. For my next tree, what I might do is make a tree that looks like a big pine needle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a vertical line for the main branch, and then I'm going to just do diagonal lines coming off of it. And this time I can make many. So diagonal line up, diagonal line up, diagonal line up. Just diagonal lines up. Awesome. Done with that one. I can put it off to the side. For another one of my branches, what I can do is maybe I'll make one that looks like a giant leaf. So what I can do is around this oval, I'm going to draw a black line that is an oval going around. Okay. And then I'm going to draw that vertical line down the middle for my main branch, and then I'm going to do diagonal lines that come off of it. Diagonal line, diagonal line, diagonal line, diagonal line, diagonal line. And I'll put that off to the side. Maybe I'll make another one where I'm going to, again, same thing, draw my black oval around, make the main branch, but this time maybe I'll do just straight horizontal lines across. Horizontal line, just like that. Nice, and I'll put that one off to the side. Another one I might do is have one where it is a bunch of curved lines. So what I can do is I might, towards the bottom, make a horizontal line across. Then I'm going to make a curved line, a big rainbow curved line coming off of that horizontal line. Okay. Then I'm going to draw that vertical line down the middle. And then from there, I'm going to make a series of rainbow curves starting off small and getting larger and larger and larger. So I'll make a small one. And then I'll make another curved line. And then I'll make another curved line. Beautiful. And I'll put that off to the side. Another one I can create is a tree that has small dotted leaves on it. So what I can do is make that vertical line up, those diagonal line branches coming off of it. And instead of making smaller diagonal line branches, I'm going to make small dots. So on each branch, you can make 3 to 4 little small dots. Great, beautiful. I'm going to put that tree off to the side. Another one that I can do is a tree that's going to be full of curved lines going in all different directions. So what I can do is I can take my black crayon again. I'm going to make that oval going along kind of the oval edge of my paper. I'm going to make that vertical line go down the middle, but this time I'm going to do some curved lines that come off of it, but then some curved lines that go the other way, curved lines that go another way, curved lines that go another way, just kind of branching off more and more curved lines, one on top of the other in different directions. Curving lines this way, curving lines that way, just small curved lines to create some sort of design effect on the inside. So tiny little small curved lines, curved lines, curved lines, filling up that space with just small curved lines. Great. And if yours doesn't look exactly like mine, that's fine too. Just to fill the space with different sort of curved lines. We'll put that one off to the side. And last but not least, let's do a tree where, again, I'm going to take my black crayon, make a vertical line down the middle. And this time I'm going to do crisscross diagonal lines. One big diagonal line crisscrossing at the middle of my vertical line, and another diagonal line crisscrossing in the middle again, so where they all meet up. One horizontal line going across. And from off of all these different sort of lines, let's draw some diagonal lines coming off of them. It almost kind of looks like a snowflake. Beautiful. All right, now that I have all of these different sort of line trees, what we are going to do is we are going to use the watercolor to paint over our black crayon. So what we're going to do is you can pick not just one color, but even two different colors to paint within your tree. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your paintbrush, you can dip it in the water, squeegee it along the brim of your jar or bowl to get all the extra water off. And let's concentrate on using what we call cool colors. Cool colors like greens, blues, and purples are on the last half of the rainbow, and they're colors that remind us of cool things like cool green grass or cool blue water. We're going to use mostly cool colors to paint our trees, okay? So the reds, oranges, and yellows we'll put off to the side. Okay, pick your first color. I'm going to pick a light green, and I'm going to swirl, swirl, swirl my paintbrush into that green in my watercolor set until I see that a lot of that green is on my brush. And I'm going to use my paintbrush to fill in most of the space of my paper. Notice how the black crayon is still showing up. That's because crayon and water do not mix. So it's totally fine for you to paint over the black crayon because your black crayon will always show up. I'm going to leave a little space down here for another color. So I'm going to wash out my brush and I'm going to pick a different color. This time maybe I'll pick this kind of turquoise, bluish green to be my second color. And I'm going to swirl, 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 and in that space that I left, I'm going to put some of that turquoise, and I'm allowing some of my turquoise to mix with my light green. And notice if it mixes with that light green, it creates a different sort of green, which I think is really pretty. So I'm done with that one. I filled in all the white space, so I'm going to wash out my brush, press up, down, and then squeegee the end of my paintbrush, and I'm going to pick even more different colors for these. So you can pick a combination of, let's say, green, just a regular old green, painting the white space with your first green and then picking a second cool color. Let's say this time a purple. Let's see what turns out, how it turns out. So I'm going to take some of my purple, mix it with the green in the middle, fill in this space. Beautiful. And for my next one, maybe I'll do a combination of regular blue here we go, and maybe I'll do, let's use that turquoise again. It's up to you. You can do a combo of 2 or even 3 colors. See what happens. If you use all cool colors, then you run the risk, or you don't risk having a brown color. So if you just use greens, blues, and purples, they're going to turn out really nicely. So I'm going to, again, fill in the white space with a couple different colors. Like that. Now I'm going to go in warp speed to finish these up. Okay, now that I have painted all of my trees, I can either wait until they fully dry, or if you want them to dry very quickly, what you can do is you can take some paper towel and you can just kind of dab some of the extra water and paint off of your trees. Just know that if you dab it with paper towel, it's going to take some of the color off. So if you don't want it to take some of your color off, you can just wait until they're fully dry. But I'm going to take a little bit of the color off and have it be a little drier. Again, it's up to you. You can just have them naturally dry, or you can dab it with paper towel. Ooh, and I love that sort of texture effect. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that they're fully dry before I go on to the next step. So let's make sure that these are fully dry. Okay, if all of your tree ovals are feeling pretty dry, where there's no puddles of water or it's not dripping, then it's ready to start gluing it onto your background piece of paper. So what we can do is just move our trees to the side. Let's bring out our second piece of paper and let's lay it down in landscape orientation. Again, landscape orientation meaning that it's laying down wide and fat. Then we can take our ovals and arrange them in this type of order that we're going to want them on our page. So you can take your trees and you can even have them overlap one another, keeping them on the page. Some in the back, some in front, but you want to make sure that the colors that you pick are different from one another when you arrange them on the page. So for example, I have blue and green and turquoise. I'm going to put a purple there so that it's different from the rest that are around it. And I can keep looking for colors that I haven't used yet. That's nice. Okay, so I'm going to keep this arrangement in mind when I am going to glue down my trees. And if your trees go off your page, it's okay. All right, so I know that I want these in my background, so I will take off those trees. I'm going to get out my glue stick, and I'm going to start gluing down these trees in the order that I like them. So I'll put glue on the back of my first tree, and I'll place it down where I wanted it. It's okay if it goes off the page, it's fine. So there's my first tree. Maybe my next tree is a little bit taller than that one. So I'll overlap it and have it go a little bit higher. Press, press, press. Then my next tree, maybe it's a little bit shorter than that one. So I'll put glue on the back, figure out where I want it, have it slightly overlap if I want, or just be right next to it. And then my last tree, I'll put maybe a little bit taller than this one, slightly overlapping. Nice. There we go. All right, now I'm ready to put my trees that would be in the foreground. Foreground meaning that they are closer to the viewer. So I'm gonna again put it in the order that I decided. So I had this purple one here. I'm gonna put glue on the back. Put it where I wanted it. If it is different from your original order, that's okay too. Maybe I'll have this one over there. Put glue on the back. Put glue on the back. And last one. Awesome. Okay, once all my trees are glued and arranged on my paper with some of them overlapping, what I want to do now is I'm going to take out my black crayon again, and I'm going to create the tree trunks from my trees. So I'm going to take my black crayon, I'm going to line it up with the vertical line that I made on my tree, but this time I'm going to extend that vertical line down to make a trunk. Extend it down to make a trunk. Extend it down to make a trunk. Extend it down. Now, if your background trees are being covered and you can't extend that tree trunk, then that's fine, then you're done. So now I have all of my trees with my tree trunks. It's time to paint the background. So you can get out your watercolors again and your water and paintbrush, and let's pick a color that's not a cool color. Let's pick one that is a little bit different. So it can be either magenta or a red or an orange or a yellow. I'm gonna pick the magenta to be my background. And what I'm gonna do is I'll swirl, swirl, swirl it in the color that I chose. And then I'm going to use my paintbrush and the watercolor to paint around my trees. I'm painting the background, so I wanna paint all around my trees, avoiding painting over my trees, just to have, again, the background space be filled in. If you like your background to be white and you don't want to paint it, that's fine too, but I chose magenta to do my background so it looks fully filled in. So I'm going to use my paintbrush, fill in all the background space with that magenta color. Beautiful. All right, it looks like I am fully done. So I will let this dry and then it will be fully complete. I can't wait to see yours. Good luck.